They say nurses hold the line between life and death until the hospital decides the line costs too much. She gave them 20 years of nights, holidays, and double shifts. Then she became a number on a spreadsheet. The irony? She trained half the staff that stayed and got cut so the budget could breathe. I'm Wilson, and this is how 20 years of saving lives ended, with a folder and a security escort, based on real accounts from veteran nurses affected by hospital-wide layoffs, all details altered. Ha! You remember your first night shift like it was yesterday. You were 23, spring of 2004, scared out of your mind. The ICU was louder than you expected. Monitors beeping, alarms going off, people moving fast. You thought you'd made a mistake choosing this, but then a patient coded, and your hands just knew what to do. That night, you saved your first life, and something in you settled. This was it. This was the work. You were good at it from the start, calm when everyone else panicked, steady when the room fell apart. The kind of nurse other nurses wanted next to them. Your first year, $52,000 a year. Not much, but the work was everything. By year 3, they put you on the hardest cases, the ones nobody else wanted, the patients on the edge. You learned to read a monitor before it alarmed. You learned to read a family's face before they spoke. You learned which doctors to trust and which to double-check. That kind of knowledge takes years. You can't teach it in a classroom. You earn it, one bad night at a time. There was one patient you never forgot. A man named Walter, 78 years old. He came in with a failing heart. A Tuesday night in November. His family had given up. The doctors had too. But you stayed past your shift watching his numbers. You caught the change before the monitor did. You called the code. You started compressions. You brought him back when nobody thought you could. Walter went home 9 days later. He sent you a card every Christmas after that, for 6 years. Then the card stopped, and you knew. That's the part nobody tells you about this job. You carry every one of them with you, the ones you save, and the ones you don't. By year 7, you were charge nurse. $71,000 a year, you ran the floor. You made the calls when things went sideways. New nurses came to you scared, like you once were, and you taught them, patiently, one shift at a time. You taught them how to start a line on a rolling gurney, how to stay calm when the monitor flatlines, how to tell a family the truth. Gently. Half the ICU staff learned the job from you. You didn't think about that back then. You just did the work. 'Cause that's who you were. There was a girl named Megan, 22, fresh out of nursing school. Her hands shook on her first day just like yours had. You took her under your wing. You stayed late to walk her through the hard cases. You told her, "You'll be great. Give it time." Megan got good. Real good. She's still on that floor today. You wonder if she knows that the nurse who taught her everything got walked out by security. You missed birthdays. You missed holidays. You worked Christmas more years than you can count. Your son learned not to wait up. Your husband learned to keep dinner warm. The hospital always needed you, and you always showed up. Then the pandemic came, and everything got worse. You worked 16-hour shifts in a mask that cut your face. You held phones up to dying patients, so families could say goodbye. You watched people you couldn't save, more than you'd ever watched before. There was a week you'd never forget. You lost 4 patients in 5 days. One of them was a nurse too, from another floor. You knew her. You'd shared lunch breaks with her. You held her hand at the end. There was no family allowed in. So you stayed, so she wouldn't be alone. You sang to her quietly, because you didn't know what else to do. And when it was over, you charted it. Time of death, cause, next of kin notified. Then you washed your hands and went to the next room. 'Cause there was always a next room. You came home and cried in the car. Then you wiped your face and went back the next day. 'Cause the line needed holding. And you were the one who held it. You didn't know it yet. But in 2 years, they'd thank you by walking you out. The hospital called you heroes back then. There were signs in the windows, free pizza in the break room, a banner in the lobby. Healthcare heroes work here. You didn't do it for the banner, but it was nice to feel seen. For a while. Then the pandemic faded, and so did the banners. The pizza stopped coming. the signs came down, and the hospital started talking about something new: operational efficiency, cost realignment, sustainable staffing models. You'd heard words like that before. They never meant anything good. The first sign was small. They stopped replacing nurses who left. One nurse retired, and her spot stayed empty. Then another left, and the floor got the work anyway. You were doing the job of 2 people, sometimes 3. You told yourself it was temporary. You told yourself they'd hire soon. They didn't. Then a new administrator arrived, came from outside healthcare. A turnaround specialist, they called him. He'd never worked a bedside in his life. He walked the floor once, with a clipboard. He didn't ask your name. He counted heads and wrote numbers. You watched him do it, and something in your stomach turned. The emails started after that. Workforce optimization review, role redundancy assessment, voluntary separation opportunities. You weren't worried at first. You were the most experienced nurse on the floor. You'd trained half the people there. You figured experience protected you, but experience costs money. And the spreadsheet doesn't care about experience. The spreadsheet cares about the top of the pay scale. After 20 years. That was you. $89,000 a year. In March, the rumors started. Layoffs were coming. Big ones. System-wide. 400 positions, people said. You did the math in your head. You'd survived every storm before this. You told yourself you'd survive this one too. You kept your head down. You picked up extra shifts. You volunteered for the worst nights. You thought, if I make myself essential, but you knew, somewhere deep down, essential and expensive don't mix on a budget. It was a Thursday when it happened. A Thursday in April. You just finished a 12-hour shift. Your feet ached. Your back ached. You were charting your last note. When the email came through, please report to conference room 2 at 3 p.m. No subject, no explanation, just a room and a time. You knew what it meant. You walked down the hall you'd walked for 20 years, past the rooms where you'd saved lives, past the nurses' station you used to run. The new nurses didn't look up. They didn't know yet. Conference room 2 was cold. There was an HR woman you'd never met. There was the turnaround specialist. He still didn't know your name. He read it off a folder. Sarah, your position has been eliminated. This is part of a system-wide restructuring. Your access ends today. Security will escort you out, after 20 years, like you were a stranger, like you were a threat. You didn't say anything. I mean, what do you even say to that? 20 years. And a folder. What was there to say? You signed the paper they slid across the table. You handed over your badge, the same badge that opened every door for 2 decades. It went into a plastic bag, and that was it. A security guard waited by the door. His name was Tommy. You'd taken care of his mother 3 years ago. He couldn't look at you. I'm sorry, Sarah, he whispered. I just gotta walk you out. So you walked. Through the lobby where the hero banner used to hang, past the gift shop, past the front desk, into the parking lot, into your car. And you sat there. For a long time, you didn't cry. Not yet. You just sat. 20 years. Gone in 15 minutes. When you got home, the house was quiet. Your son was at school. Your husband was at work. You stood in the kitchen, still in your scrubs. You didn't know what to do with your hands. You'd never not had a shift to go to. The next morning, you woke up at 5 a.m., out of habit. Your body still thought it had a shift. You lay there in the dark. There was nowhere to be. You made coffee you didn't want. You sat at the kitchen table. You looked at your hands. 20 years, those hands had saved people. Now they didn't know what to do. You opened your laptop. You started a job search you never thought you'd need. The websites all asked the same thing. Years of experience? You typed 20, and somehow that felt like the wrong answer. Here's the part that stayed with you. A week after they walked you out, the nurses you trained did something. They printed your name on a piece of paper and taped it to the door of the break room. Yours and every veteran nurse they let go. Management made them take it down, said it was bad for morale. But the nurses took a photo first. They sent it to you. You keep it on your phone. You look at it sometimes. It's been 4 months now. You apply for jobs every week. But every hospital wants someone newer, someone cheaper. 20 years of experience. Turns out, it's a liability now. Your husband picked up a second job. You sold the second car. Your son asked why money got tight. You said you were between positions. He's 14. He knew better. One night, he found you at the kitchen table. You were looking at that photo of the memorial. He didn't ask what it was. He just sat down next to you. And he said, "Mom, you saved people for 20 years. That has to count for something." You didn't know what to tell him, because you used to believe that too. You used to tell your new nurses the same thing. Do good work, and the work takes care of you. You're not sure you believe it anymore. And that's the part that hurts the most. Not the money, not the badge. It's that you don't know what to teach him now. Sometimes you drive past the hospital, not on purpose. The route is just in you. 20 years of driving it. You see the new nurses walking in, scared, like you once were. And you wonder who's teaching them now. You wonder if Megan tells them about you, or if you've already become a story they forgot. A name on a memorial that got taken down. You believed in the work. You believed the work believed in you. The badge in the plastic bag didn't agree. They called you a hero when they needed you. They called you a line item when they didn't. 20 years, one folder, 15 minutes. The line needed holding. You held it. Nobody held it for you. I'm Wilson. Thanks for listening.